Wonder about the future and how you'll be working and learning? Welcome to You in 2042, the future of work, with your host, Danielle Wallace.
Hello and welcome to You in 2042, the future of work. Joining me today is Madina Cornish.
Thank you, Danielle. I am Senior Director of Learning and Development at the Canadian Red Cross and based here in Vancouver, and happy to be talking to you.
We're so wonderful to have you and really just gain your insights and thoughts and ideas. When we look back into 2003 until now, there's been just so much change that has happened in the world. So we look out into 2042. Wow, what do you think we may see? What changes you think may occur?
An excellent question that I probably wouldn't be the only one to say I simply don't know. We didn't know what would be happening to us in 2023. We sort of knew that technology was evolving. We sort of knew that there were economic, climate changes that would impact how we live, how we work, but nothing to the extent of where we were. So we didn't know about COVID. We didn't know about the extensive impact of climate change and how that would impact our workplaces. So looking at 2042, obviously recognizing that we don't know those trends and those events that don't have a history, we probably could predict that the world will continue to have a crisis. And I work for an emergency response organization, so would probably firmly say, unfortunately, the climate will impact our world, and there will be environment-related crises. There will be floods and fires in Canada and internationally. The technology is evolving even faster than we thought it would. I mean, look at ChatGPT. It came one day, and how much development has happened since that. So for sure, there will be further automation of our workplace. I don't know if we, in the world of learning and development, will be so fixated on LMS in the future. I mean, we've created those as they came from traditional universities, and we sort of adopted them. But there's been so much change in the world of technology for learning and development. Whether that will exist or not, that's a question. Will there be something more sophisticated? Our jobs will become very different. I can bet on that. I think the technology will make some of our transactional jobs easier, but humans need to operate. We need to have the right skills to generate the right sense from the technology. So that will definitely affect L&D. The other thing, how it will change, is the kind of leaders that are in the organizations will have to be different. We've been making a focus on trust and empathy and critical thinking and leading in uncertainty, but it will be 10 times more of that. So leaders that don't have those skills will not be very successful.
That's so true. And Madina, I find really important is the impact that you've even mentioned on things beyond our control, but things that are in front of us that other guests haven't mentioned, like climate change and the impact that has on our day-to-day lives, being impacted by a flood, being impacted by fire, leading in an organization that also has to deal with the volatility of the world, but also the environment around us. And leading in uncertainty really truly becomes tenfold, as you say. So what skills do you think people need in order to be ready for this future world?
Yeah, I would start in response to the various crises that will be happening is we need to build our individual resilience. We need to up that level of individual resiliency to a more significant level, to have the ability to manage the rapid pace of change and some complex change, something very unpredictable, whether it is related to our environment, life environments, work environments, or the growth that will be happening in our lives and in our work. So the other thing is ability to learn quicker new skills so that we can take on new challenges. So adapt in order to learn new skills. Have that really open growth mindset, is that change is going to happen more frequently than we wanted, and some of us may want it. I love change. I'm probably one of those that I embrace change and see an opportunity in there, but learn to view an opportunity in that change versus draining of our resources. Digital literacy, I think it's a given. So the ability to understand data, what it is, and how we use it in our day-to-day, and how we use it to make decisions in combination with critical thinking skills. AI can help us in the future to do some of that work, but we still need to be in the driver's seat in sort of directing the AI responses in the direction that where we want to be. And I mentioned earlier the trust and empathy that doesn't apply only to leaders, but as well to everyone in the workplace. In order to be successful in this new world of challenges, we need to be able to work effectively with people. And if before it was like, oh, as a nice person, you need to be friendly and nice. Now we need to have high collaboration skills and teamwork skills. And that starts with building trust with our colleagues, with our leaders, and being empathetic. And then thinking about the fact that technology is going to replace some of those day-to-day transactional tasks, which is good. So hopefully that will force us to be a little bit more creative and look at skills that technology can't replace, that help us generate new ideas, new opportunities, thinking outside of the box. And that happens in collaboration with others. So creating those platforms where people can bring individual ideas and leveraging our collective power.
I can envision this world where there's change happening in the environment outside, in my work environment, my day-to-day dealings. So that need that you mentioned for individual resilience, being able to handle these unpredictable complex changes, being able to learn quicker. These set the stage, as you're mentioning, for the digital literacy to be able to then build upon and appropriately adapt while still strengthening and even further heightening the trust, creativity that's needed to excel. With these skills in mind, is there something that learning and development can do now to help?
Mm-hmm. I think the role of learning and development will have to change from where we were so much the content creators. In our case at Canadian Records, we do a little bit of everything. So we do performance consulting, we create content, and we deliver training, we deliver learning experiences to our learners. But where I see the role of learning and development changing is a little bit increasing that role of a catalyst in the development. So prompting the brains of our leaders, of our teams, in thinking of the learning environment. So that we need to recognize what that learning environment today is and how adult learners learn today. So now we have even less capacity to absorb and to learn. Recognizing that is, I think, elevating the knowledge, so increasing that awareness and knowledge of what can be fit in a day for learning. So if we want to increase the digital skills of the organization, we recognize that takes time. It can't be done overnight. So helping our stakeholders to understand where can learning be effective, so where can training make a difference, versus where it's not the role of learning and development, it's not the role of training.
I truly think those will help the organizations be able to adapt and be future ready.
Mhm.
Medina, is there anything else that I didn't ask that our listeners should know?
I think we're living in an incredibly interesting world, and it's an incredibly interesting time and a changing time for learning and development. I think what our learners need to know is like everything we've said about the workforce, the leaders and employers also apply to learning and development professionals. So we will be challenged in our mandate. We will be challenged in our skills. I do feel that we all need to significantly up our digital and creative skills and our critical thinking skills. So everything that applies to the general workforce also applies to learning and development. So having that ability to shift and adapt and learn will be a key to us. But I see enormous opportunity for this profession, and I'm very excited about it.
I think that really helps set the stage for this future world to come. Medina, thank you so much for your time and insights.
Thanks, Danielle. Thanks for the opportunity and happy to be here.
Thank you for being a part of the future. Subscribe now to stay current.